I'm Haley with the Operation Blessing U.S. Disaster Relief Team here in Western North Carolina, specifically my home of Asheville, North Carolina. A couple of days ago, we sent our U.S. Disaster Relief Team down to Florida to hunker down ahead of Hurricane Helene, where it landed as a Category 4 and left a ton of destruction. The last thing that I expected was for this storm to head north and impact a mountainous region where I live the way that it did. We're seeing record-breaking flooding, the worst they've seen since 1916, where it completely flooded the River Arts District, where many of my friends have homes and businesses. It also flooded Biltmore Village, the Swananoa River overflowed there. Sadly, a lot of people weren't able to get out of the Lake Lair region as well. It brings me to tears to know that my team's coming this way because I've seen firsthand what they can do with their faith-inspired works and the way that they can bring people together to rebuild in the aftermath of such destruction.
We unexpectedly had the worst storm that Western North Carolina had experienced for many years, actually, and they say even possibly in its history. That storm was Hurricane Helene, and it immediately put everyone into a very significant circumstance. We lost all power, many people lost water, and many people perished. Homes were washed away. And of course, all of a sudden, just the basic needs for survival became a big deal.
Swananoa is located in this little valley that is surrounded by those mountains. And so what happened is that the mountains around us acted a little bit like this funnel. So many of those gallons of waters all trickled in and they concentrated right here in our valley. The river that's located right across the street from our church began to rise, and it rose so rapidly that eventually it rose 24 feet over its normal levels, covering rooftops all around us, even sweeping neighbors off of their second-story porches, and destroying home after home after home as it swept up semi-trucks, storage units, massive tree systems, all kinds of debris in its path.
I think when we started hearing about Helene, and it kept getting worse and worse, I still had hope that we would squeak by on this one. And we took precautions, we sandbagged everything, we really spent a lot of time on the outside making sure that it would keep the water out. And I thought, well, maybe we'll get a few feet maybe, but I never had any idea. I think it was close to 8 feet in the house, completely collapsed my garage. I've never seen anything like that.
We've been told all year long that this was going to be one of the busiest hurricane seasons in history. And for the most part, have been very, very quiet. June, July, August, very quiet. A lot of Category 1 storms. So kind of quiet from our perspective, underperforming, honestly. And we were really relieved for that sense. But we were still preparing. We were packing our meal kits. We were packing our buckets because we know we're only a few minutes away from a storm at any given time. And suddenly Hurricane Helene hits and devastates, southern Georgia, North Florida. And so we had a team en route on the ground serving there. But as the storm began to shift and move north into this North Carolina area, we were kind of floored by what we saw because we're hundreds of miles inland. We're at elevation, thousands of feet above sea level. And suddenly this hurricane stalled over the mountains and dumped more than 40 inches of rain in a matter of 24 hours. And so something like this hasn't happened in this region in the country for over 1,000 years. And they called it at first a 100-year flood, but it's a 1,000-year flood. I mean, they've not seen anything like this before. And because of that, when people were getting warnings to evacuate or flood warnings, they didn't really take heed because they didn't expect it to be this bad. And so for us, it was shocking to see, and yet we knew we had to respond.
On the morning of the storm, God woke me up really early, about 5 o'clock in the morning. Both of us got up and the Lord just gave me the word go, told me I was gonna go that day. And we prepared as much as we could with that word. And at 9 o'clock in the morning, we joined a prayer call with Adventures in Missions and some other partners that we have. And we were just praying in what response to Hurricane Helene looked like. And 15 minutes into that call, we got a message saying that 36 of our world racers were trapped in a landslide in Black Mountain, North Carolina. And right then the Lord said, go get the kids. So said to Sarah, that's where I'm going.
We're experiencing some major flooding in this region. What you can see behind me is the Biltmore Village, and that's the Swananoa River. And right now, police are all around, and there are people and spectators
It was
looking at
something
this
that
historic region.
I can't even
And
begin
as
to
you
explain.
know,
I don't think the severity of it really hit me at the time, but I immediately began filming because that's what I do for a living. And I knew if this is happening here, then this had to be widespread and disastrous. After I saw that the Swananoa River had risen and the waters were swift, I knew that the River Arts District had to have been experiencing something quite devastating themselves. And so I ran back to my vehicle and I drove over to the River Arts District, but there were parts that were only reachable by standing on the overlook of a bridge.
Well done.
You know, it's devastating because everything in here, we had over 120,000 items in inventory, $9 million worth of, retail if it sold, when it sold, and it was all ruined. And we started reaching out to our vendors and saying, because they were all wanting to know, can we come in? Is there, y'all find anything? We're like, help yourself, come down, wear things, protection, and bring gloves, because you had all kinds of people saying, don't get any mud on you. I mean, it was impossible, and it just got to the point. It was like, you know what? At the same time, you had people coming in looking for bodies because there were people missing, and we started pulling everything out that we could that looked like somebody might want it. Like the artist who made it might have something of value that would be a keepsake.
It's just been a place since I've been here for 7 years in this business. My wife and I were building something, and our kids played right here. Our friends' kids played and watched the train. It was just a place for a family to come down and, I've been masters in art, but it became a place to rediscover what art is. And yeah, it's just been home, this morning. I was driving in and just wanted to hug the building. It's the stupidest thing I've ever said.
And then immediately, we came down to clean their work. We knew the next step was gather their work, get it clean, get it back to them. And that's when we met Operation Busing, in a moment of complete vulnerability for me, just walking through a destroyed building.
I'm sitting here in the remains of Foundation Woodwork, a partner we've met here on the ground in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm just amazed at the destruction. When you see what water can do, it's hard to really believe. It looks like a bomb went off in this building. But when I think about what went on here before the devastation, the artistry, the gifts and talents that were being used to create something beautiful here, the artwork, the woodwork, and I look at this and I just think how broken it is. And yet I'm reminded in my own life, certainly, but also in just the world around us, of how God is the restorer of that which is broken. And so I know that there's going to come a day very, very soon where there's going to be more beautiful artwork coming out of this building, that God's going to restore what's been broken here, and that this building that we're sitting in today is just a microcosm of what's happening across all of Asheville. That God is going to take what was meant for evil, going to take the destruction, and He's going to exchange it for something beautiful. That He's going to restore Asheville to a place it's never been before.
And we want to pray for this community that, God will continue, to bless them and send other labels, to this area that will join in the effort and help them in life. We never know, and we're supposed to help one another. We're supposed to help our brothers and sisters, and this is a time that we can, give back.
Today we actually finally got our site plan in hand, and we are going to the property right now to site the apron and entrance, and then we're going to get our equipment on the site. We're going to scrub and grub the surface, and our surveyor is going to come in, stake the site for the tent. Flooring comes in. I mean, I can remember initially with the first few days after the storm, they would have a daily meeting in the center of downtown Black Mountain where the officials in the local municipality would communicate stuff that was happening and intended stuff that was coming to help aid. And people were just so staggered and shocked, and obviously with questions of, any time expectation for water. What about even bathroom usage? How do we, so people were not prepared emotionally, psychologically at all. I can say this, spiritually, the storm gave great rise to people who would never have considered God, faith, and the faith community. They began to realize, wow, there are great people out there who genuinely love the Lord and love to help. And people who would have never even considered it have now changed their mind about God and faith.
We are currently positioned at the local Home Depot. They've given us a part of their parking lot. It's an ideal location, very central to the area that was damaged. And so we're setting up a mobile kitchen. We're going to have our mobile command center here and every other asset that we need to be able to help these people as much as possible. There are an amazing number of people that are trapped up in the mountains or who have lost everything, and it's not being able to be covered because there's so little cell coverage and the word can't get out. So it's critical that we get that message out.
So the Home Depot and the Home Depot Foundation are very committed to communities, especially following disasters. It's one of our biggest pillars, one of the things that we work on, both from the business side and our foundation side. Operation Blessing is one of our largest partners for our disaster response, probably one of our top 5. And so we look to them to tell us what to do, how to do it, how we can help the local community, because they are there first. They are the boots on the ground, and they tell us what they need, and then we're able to provide it.
After a devastating disaster like this, the biggest need in the immediate days after the storm is always food and water, always food and water. So really, as we began to set up shop in the early days, it was how do we get a hot meal on people's tables? How do we give them clean drinking water? How do we give them access to water that they can wash their clothes, wash their dishes? And then also, how do we give them groceries so as they do return home, they have something to eat for several days? We were blessed to be able to have a talented group, a chef from our U.S. disaster relief team with a mobile kitchen, serving thousands of hot meals in the weeks to follow the storm. Again, giving out grocery boxes, giving out bottles of clean water. but that's really kind of phase one for us. And as we look at phase two and beyond, it's how do we help people restore some sense of normalcy, get back on their feet.
Because in West Asheville we have access to some supplies, but especially when you're out traveling, because so many places are closed, if you're trying to get materials or supplies and we're trying to deliver water, it's really difficult to access food throughout the day at some of the stores. So being able to access people that are cooking or providing food has made it really easy for us to be able to get access to food and not have to cook without having water to clean.
It is definitely a big blessing to our family and to the whole community. You know, we're just coming out of our house and we just saw it on the way up the road and we were just like, oh, thank you guys so much for making hot meals for us.
And you people are God's blessing. For two old ladies that can't fend for themselves, you know? We can't really stand in lines or nothing. But what y'all doing is beyond imaginable, how you come to our rescue.
We did not have to invent the wheel to be effective at helping feed people. Your organization had everything prepared, and we were able to come in. My team from Maggie Valley was able to come in and just stay very busy serving the food that you guys have organized and prepared here. So it was really wonderful.
Robert, Helen, 621, Tom with Chuck.
Operation Blessing volunteers are critical to the work that we do, and obviously we're here in Asheville after Hurricane Helene hit, and our volunteers behind us, they're phenomenal. They've been with us all day. They're packing these meal kits that we're going to distribute tomorrow for a special worship service for everybody in the Asheville community, just to come and be refreshed. Then we're going to serve hot meals and then give them these meal kits so that they can go home and continue to have resources as this community begins to recover. Right now, the operation here on the ground, we need an army of volunteers to come alongside, link up with Operation Blessing so that we can help this community get back on their feet. This isn't going to take weeks, it's going to take months and ultimately years for this community to recover. And so that's why Operation Blessing, because of the generosity of our donors, we're able to be here to help be the hands and feet of Christ.
So yeah, we're partnering with Operation Blessing. We are with youth with a mission based in Asheville, and we just are so blessed and honored to be the feet of Jesus, just to help those in need and to really impact our community in practical ways.
I'm from New Bedford, Massachusetts, about 20 hours away. And I'm here because the Lord woke me up in the night and gave me a burden for this. I have a 1-year-old son, a 5-year-old son, and a 10-year-old daughter. And I had to put them on pause because the burden was so strong in my heart, I couldn't even sleep. And so I told my husband I was gonna drive out here, and he's like, yeah, you can't drive 20 hours by yourself. And then we went to church Sunday, and they had announced they were putting together a team to come bless you guys. And I didn't even have to think about it. I gave my yes. And my kids were sad, but it was a great opportunity for them to understand the hands and feet of Jesus. And now they're messaging me, not so much with, I miss you, Mommy. They're eager to know what's going on. They want to see the light. And so when I came here, I was focused on the devastation. But while I was here, the Lord said, stop looking at the devastation and glorify the light.
It just made me feel awesome to help other people that are in need, because I'm blessed, and some people right now, they've lost everything, and it's our job to help bless them.
The BFG leader asked me to pray for up here, the catastrophe was happening. And as I was praying for these people up here, God started breaking my own heart for the people here. I was not intending or had no thoughts of coming up here, but the Lord, through His Holy Spirit, just really impressed it upon my heart. In the moment, I was sitting with my wife, and He pressed it upon my heart to come up here. He gave me a clear vision in my mind as I see being able to serve this community. He said, go, bring food, bring water, and find someone to come with me. And my friend Jeremy came with me, and he specifically told me that people need to hear the gospel up here. People need to hear the hope of Christ, that He is peace, and that they have hope in Him, and to bring relief to their tragedy with water.
Oh yeah, those people that live right there are great. Who? People that live there. Oh, yeah, he's from outside. They're just wonderful.
When it comes to medical, water, food, and that you help restore the power and the water to our city soon. I'm so sorry.
And we're
So sorry, guys.
And
I
just
live in
feeling
Asheville,
very grateful that
so
the
I live-
community has been coming together as much as it has. I've heard a lot of people saying it's one of the best things to come out of this is just how everyone is banding together, supplying what they can, helping those that they can, and just trying to help everybody else out who is worse off than they are.
As I looked around and trusted so much that our God is such a good God and this Father who loves His children. But I just remember being so overcome by this notion of like, Lord, how on earth are you going to take care of all of these people? The need so far outweighed what any could do and what any one group or person could meet. But it was absolutely remarkable to see the ways that the Lord showed up and the ways that He just began to whisper again and again, don't be afraid, I'm with you, you're not alone. I mean, and He began to send people like Operation Blessing and World Vision, Adventures Relief, even Excel College, so many others from around the world would come to us. Churches began to stream in from around the country. And He just began to live and flow and speak so mightily through His people as He showed us in the flesh, you are not alone, but I am with you, and I will care for you.
All right, perfect, right on. The countertops in, then we got the sink, finish the plumbing. That's too bad because I can see a lot.
When Operation Blessing came, and then Adventures Relief came, and we all gathered. The day that happened, we had no idea what that was about to become at all. It was great to have, in the midst of turmoil and tragedy, it was great to have some strong representation of organization, care, and actually show up. But no idea did we have in our minds that this would become a significant joint effort to bring such relief to this region. But God did, obviously. We knew quickly, as soon as that meeting began, we realized that God was up to something big, and this was a divine appointment with organizations that would not have otherwise connected. God did that.
And Father, we pray that out of this darkness, let the sound of revival.
One of the most incredible parts of being part of this Better Together coalition is to see not only organizations and nonprofits come together and link arms, but when we have 10 different churches or denominations serving together, sleeping in one base together, praising and worshiping one God together, it really is the church manifested. It isn't about where you're from or what language you speak or what denomination you're a part of or what organization you give to. We're all just coming together as the hands and feet of Jesus, bringing hope into a devastated area and seeing peace and hope emerge out of the chaos.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing because as we began to open our doors, as we were all in this place of need, and it just brought all of these new neighbors together around the table. So even now, we continue to gather around the table every Monday night with 250 people, all of these new friends and community members, many of whom had never stepped foot in our church before. But it just kind of tore down all of the walls that once were between us. And so we're grateful for those new friendships. We also are grateful, though, for people who are beginning to experience the love of God in a way they never have before. I have had multiple homeowners now who have said to me that they find themselves having to reconsider everything they've ever believed, not because of Helene, but because of everything that's happened after Helene. They see these volunteers coming through to help to rebuild their homes. I think they just can't help but wonder why. Why would you give your life and your time and your resources to help me, other than maybe there's a good God behind it all? And so that has been really incredible to see. And I think it's this ripple effect that I didn't even imagine. I knew that folks would be grateful, but I guess I had no idea just how deeply and profoundly it would change them.
Really brings home, and really I think brought home just what an incredible opportunity that we have to serve people, and just how the hurt that comes from a disaster, the pain that comes from a disaster, how lives getting disrupted. It doesn't make any difference if it's here, it doesn't make any difference if it's in another country. People's hearts are broken for what they've been through. And to have people come in, but to help them because they love Jesus, because they have the love of Christ in their heart and want to come in and help them and serve them, is just an amazing thing to observe. And to see it here in North Carolina, it's just been incredible to see how multiple ministries have come together to serve together. Really, no one looking for specific credit to take, but just saying, how can we as ministries come together and serve the most people? That's been an incredible blessing for me to see it.
When our volunteers show up and they join forces with us, it's such a true picture of the kingdom of God. Again, we talk about that idea of the body of Christ, and every body has different parts. Each part has its own job. And for us, our job is to organize, to get the right staff in place, to create partnerships, to distribute food, and we can't do that by ourselves. We have to have every member of the body. And so the volunteers showing up and being here, again, so many people I've heard ask our volunteers, why did you come from Massachusetts all the way to North Carolina? Why did you come from Texas all the way to North Carolina? And the answer is always because God called us to be here. And that doesn't make sense to a world that doesn't know him. But when you understand the heart of God, you understand that he's going after the one, he's going after to reach the ones who are lost, and he cares desperately about those who don't yet know him. He's not just sitting back waiting for us to come. He's pursuing us, running after us. His goodness is running after us. And his goodness runs after the people that we serve through our volunteers in tremendous ways.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's fine. Well, you have a bunch of very grateful people that will gladly put. All of the yellow and
I guess put your faith in God and trust in God, because he sees the whole picture even when you can't. And he's working in other people's hearts that are feeling called to help you. Help is on the way, help is coming. Just don't give up faith. Like, it feels so hard. I understand, but you just don't know what tomorrow brings and what amazing things are in store. Like, just hold on. Another day, another week. And he's with you. He's gonna stay with you, and we've seen that with people. Even when we think, oh, it's been so long, who's still gonna help us out? And people keep showing up, and I do fully believe that God is connected to us through people and through the kindness of people, and that's how he shows his love. That's how I feel connected to him, seeing him work in people's lives and being there for us, like with a hug, with someone showing up, with an email saying like, hey, I heard about you and I just want to help out. It means everything. So
Yeah, I think also faith, when it feels weak, somebody's strong faith can pick you up. And being vulnerable to letting people know what you're going through allows someone to show up for you, allows God to work through that person, and then just allows you to let go a little bit of your control over wanting everything to be okay, when some days it's just not. I had the completely irrational thought a couple months after the storm, I wish this had never happened. That's a very simple thought, and it's the thought that everybody has, but I felt alone in thinking it until I opened up and talked to people, and it's actually a very common experience. And how allowing people to step in and allowing people that care for you, and you can find them when Christians, churches are the ones showing up for us, everyone, just showing up, let them show up for you. And it's not burdening other people, it's allowing them to know that you need help, and that's everything. I mean, we're nothing without the people around us and the love we receive and the love we give. And just let people give that love to you. We've received so much love, and every time we feel tired, we feel out, we just get more, and that helps us step the next step, next day. So, yeah.
We made a list of what we needed drywall and materials wise, and I think it was around $150,000 worth of material that we didn't have in our bank account, but we were moving forward as if we did, and then it was donated. And I think the beauty for me is being involved in ministry for my whole adult life, and being involved in a church setting, and I've seen different groups of people throughout my whole life go and give a turkey for Christmas, or packages for Christmas, or school supplies, and the people were hungry the rest of the time. And I was so impressed that Operation Blessing came in without any strings attached, without having an ulterior motive, but realized they wanted to help, and they were still here. Y'all are still here, and it's 11 months since the event, and you guys are still here where most everybody else left.
And I think once the marquee gets opened back up and more people start coming back down and seeing what can happen when people put their minds to rebuilding and starting fresh, a lot of the other places are going to start popping back too. And so I think this is kind of being built as an inspiration as well.
All the way to this side of the building, and there were mountains of stuff that were 20 feet high. Like, you couldn't even get to anything, and it was just black and muddy and apocalyptic. You completely changed so many people's lives. You made this all happen again. It would have happened, of course, anyway, on some level, but it happened faster because of that help.
For our donors, this has been an opportunity for them to really make a difference. And I think it's a challenging thing as an NGO, because you never want to make money the most important thing, but the things that are most important all cost money. And so whenever we talk with our donors, that's the message, is we want to stay for a long time. We don't want to make a small difference, we want to make a big difference. And if we want to make a big difference, that takes a big vision, and big visions take big resources. And so for our donors who stand with us, whether that be you provide supplies, whether you supply food, whether you supply cash, all of those things enable us to hunker down here for a period of time and make a huge difference and a huge investment in this community. And so I would just say to our donors at this point, thank you so much for giving. Continue to stand with us, and know that when we show up, we're bringing your love, your hope, your care with us as we come. It's Operation Blessing logo, but it's your heart, your mission. You're a part of who we are as our donor base. And we're always looking for more donors, because I know that there are believers who want to get involved, who want to give, and they don't know where to give. And I believe Operation Blessing is the place where people can make a tremendous difference, because our hearts are in tune with God's heart. And again, the heart we have is come in and restore what's been broken. That's what God wants to do, and our donors enable us to do that. And so I'm honored that we get to be a part of it as Operation Blessing, but as a Christian, more importantly, I think for all of us, it's such a picture of how God works in each of our own lives. Again, each and every one of us had destruction, desperation, death in our souls, and God showed up at our worst moments and rescued us and restored us and makes us new and better than we ever were before. And I think that's what we're going to see happen here in Western North Carolina. That's why we go to the hard places when we respond to disasters, is because that's not only true here in North Carolina, that's true everywhere. Every single place that we go, whether that be Turkey and Morocco, whether that be Chile, whether it be Hawaii or Florida or Georgia, every time we show up, it looks like a bomb has gone off and there's destruction and devastation everywhere. There's hopelessness, but better days are coming. Light is coming into dark places, and God shows up in incredible ways when all we do is say yes. And we go in there with open hands and open hearts and we say, Lord, you're going to have to show up and do this because we don't have enough to do on our own. But when you open doors for partnerships, for volunteers, for ministry opportunities, suddenly everything doesn't look so bleak anymore. Suddenly there is a light that shines in the darkness, and we believe that when that light shines, it points people to Jesus and the hope that we have because of him.